There was, believe it or not, a time when I dreamt about being a damsel in distress, saved by my knight in shining armor. I would dress up in my blue taffeta Cinderella nightmare and clean the house, waiting silently for my fairy godmother to appear and find me a prince. But then I realized I have a really hard time shutting up and waiting for things to happen. As many of you know, I'm a feminist. So when beginning to write this speech, I googled feminists are. And in my research, I found that society views feminists as women who don't shave their legs or armpits, never wear bras or makeup, are angry all the time, can't be funny, or take a lighthearted joke. And what's more, it has come to my attention that to some, feminism is synonymous with man-hating. So I would like to clarify my original point. I am a man-loving, armpit-shaving, lip-gloss and bra-wearing, Cinderella costume-sporting, and comedically inclined feminist. For those of you who don't already know, a feminist is a person who believes in the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes. Feminism is about choices and equal opportunities, not man-hating. Some of you in the audience do not identify as feminists, but if you believe in any of the following: reproductive rights, equal work for equal pay, education for the 62 million girls around the globe who do not have access to it, the end of sexual violence, and opportunities for women to hold power positions in government and business, congratulations, you're a feminist. This is a technique on a coach of mine and asked me why I chose to identify as feminist. And when I consequently told him that he was a feminist since he believed in equality for men and women, he responded, well, I wouldn't go that far. Feminism has become a dirty word, and it shouldn't be. People have gone as far as to equate a movement whose core values are rooted in equality with the Nazi Party, a movement based on extermination and hate. Thus, we get the term feminazi. When people look at me, they think, oh, that's Kira, the feminist Twitter girl who never misses an opportunity to clap back and stalk my boy's ignorance. And I'm okay with that. I love that title. But let me tell you why I am a feminist. I am a feminist because the number of men named John who run big companies is larger than the number of all women who run big companies. I'm a feminist because countless women in America and the world are told that they simply cannot achieve the same amount of emotional or physical success as their male counterpart purely because of their gender. I'm a feminist because upwards of 60 million girls in the world are told that they're denied both primary and secondary education merely because society views women as intellectually incapable of engaging in complex thought. I'm a feminist because in this day and age, politicians can say, you can see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever, and call women fat pigs, dogs, sloths, and disgusting animals, and be praised, supported, and even revered as the fresh new face of America. I'm a feminist because there is one scene in The Place Beyond the Pines between Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes, and Gosling gives Mendes his book. It's full of lust and hunger, and you know what that book means. Now replace Ryan Gosling with a 35-year-old, much less attractive man, and replace Eva Mendes with me, a 10-year-old girl. I was in 4th grade when men began to sexualize me, undress me, and with their eyes, and give me looks that should be foreign to a girl only 10 years old. I am a feminist because at 10 years old I was objectified, flirted with, and groped by men twice my age, and valued more for my body than my mind. It was the summer of my junior year when I got the opportunity of a lifetime. I was chosen as the only high school student to intern with Congresswoman Sinema in a Washington, D.C. office. My everyday commute to the Capitol consisted of a 5 to 10 minute walk to the metro, depending on if I walked fast or heels. And I was standing on the metro, getting ready to change from the orange to the blue line, a difficult task for a girl who never uses public transportation, when a man I did not know, maybe mid-20s, decided to grope my ass. I turned around, red with fear and humiliation, to see him twisted to his friends with his scrawny shoulders, shaking in his cheeks with laughter, as if invading my body was his God-given right. I turned slightly towards the door so the group could see how my fury so easily turned to tears, and I locked eyes with the woman next to me, who gave me a sweet, tense smile, as if to say, sorry, I understand. This is just what it's like. Get used to it. Her smile, although I think it was supposed to be comforting, haunted me more than the incident. How could any grown woman submit herself to that kind of scope and simply and move on. I thought of my metro lady's face every time I was verbally harassed in the streets. Hey, baby, or that smile, baby. Ooh, I like it if you're walking away from me, or you're for sale, what's your number? The first 3 times I was harassed, I walked much swifter, took the bounce over my step, and put my blazer on to cover up my arms and apparently sexy shoulders, despite palpable DC humidity. I was scared of what they might do to me if I wore anything revealing, tighter, or even harder. I was torn between my love of self-expression and the necessity of self-preservation. I confided in a male friend about the incident, and his response was, well, what were you wearing? I paused. Was this the new normal? Could my clothing truly be blamed for unwanted sexual harassment? Am I just another example of a culture that promotes victim blaming? StopStreetHarassment.org shows clearly that, quote, globally and on a daily basis, women are subjected to unwanted verbal and or physical intrusions, such as catcalling, rearing sexually explicit and sexist comments, touching or grabbing, amongst other actions that are all considered street harassment. Women are objectified on a daily basis and told through every media outlet the very things that they can and should be doing to become more beautiful, more desirable, and more objectified than they already are. Magazines bombard women constantly about how they can improve their weight, sex life, clothing, and overall sex appeal. Chimamanda Adichie, a famous African writer and feminist, puts it perfectly when she states, quote, we teach girls shame. Cover your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they are already guilty of something. And so, girls grow up to be women who cannot see that they have desire, women who silence themselves, women who cannot say what they truly think, women who turn pretense into an art form. The incessant focus on appearance conveys the message that women should not worry about their intelligence as if it is of no consequence. It is their appearance that defines their worth, and the message is proven by the media portrays and attacks some of the most powerful women in the world. Example number 1. Hillary Clinton apparently has a likability problem. According to Washington Post, however, this likability problem is a direct consequence of her lack of a Y chromosome. Bernie Sanders can be tough and warm at the same time, but for Clinton is a trade-off. When Clinton speaks passionately about policy, she focuses likable, doesn't inspire, and seems shrill. When Bernie, who bellows at the top of his lungs, is pass. Example number 2. CNN political analyst Faye Buchanan and deemed Nancy Pelosi the first female Speaker of the House unfit for the job of Speaker because, quote, her judgment is based on emotion and not good sense, despite being a senior member of Congress. New York Times columnist Marie Dowd wrote an article titled Squeaker of the House and argued that Pelosi's first move after the Democratic triumph was to throw like a girl. Instead of focusing on the monumental strides Pelosi took as the first female speaker, Dowd and other writers dragged her and her accomplishments down through subtle encoded acts of sexism, effectively degrading the work as a whole. Example number 3. Marissa Mayer, Yahoo CEO, was deemed too hot to ever get a job at Yahoo. A high-ranking male employer said, quote, we could never hire her because she was too hot. Even if she was qualified, we would never hire her. Men would have fought over who got to sleep with her. She would have been harassed. I can't fire my entire workforce for harassing her because then who would do the work? In this man's mind, the male employee's right to harass a qualified female employee outweighs her right to get a job that she deserves. He truly believes that denying overly qualified women job positions in his Chicago trading firm is not sexist, and, quote, institutional sexism is a strong business acumen. It is flawed logic that keeps women out of the workforce and boxes them out of male-dominated fields. The media and its focus on women as only decorative objects creates an environment where men are encouraged to thoughtlessly adopt the view of women as nothing more than a means to their own pleasure. So let me tell you why every single person in this room still needs feminism today. Because out of 7 billion people in this world, 1 billion women will be raped or beaten in her lifetime because they are seen as emotionally, physically, and intellectually lesser than their male counterpart. Because the amount of women who are under genital mutilation and have acid thrown on them is no longer a source of news because it has become so commonplace. Because I don't want my baby cousins to grow up in a world that tells them that they can't. Because the other day, a friend of mine confided in me about the rape of our mutual friend, and I can no longer count on my hands the number of my friends who have been sexually assaulted, and I cannot tell you how much that scares me. Because the brief survey of reality will tell you that we do not live in a world that values all people equally. Because you know when we live in a sexist world, when a movement within feminism has an automatically negative connotation. Society teaches girls to become a damsel in distress rather than her own savior. Because feminism is for everybody. And this is your official invitation.